Video number 6+. The Earth is round, but since when? If you are, as I am, one of those persons who like to tease their friends by questioning well-established dogmas, one day somebody may tell you, okay, you probably also believe that the Earth is flat. You will then consider shrugging as the most appropriate response. But there is a much better answer, which is to ask very seriously, as if you were really questioning the fact, how do you know that it is not the case? By the way, how do you know that the Earth is round? If you are a well-informed person, maybe you are told about boats which seem, from the beach, to sink slowly into the sea when they move away. You were also told that this allowed people to understand the approximate sphericity of Earth several thousand years ago. But how long ago? This video may give a rather unexpected answer to that question. Point 1. A bit of history. If you have learned Latin, you have been able to see that some classical authors spoke about the circle of the lands, orbis terrarum, referring to the notion of a flat Earth limited by the circle of the horizon, centered on Rome, I suppose, which is a rather naive representation of our environment. From this, perhaps, comes the frequent opinion according to which people of ancient civilizations would have believed that the Earth is flat. However, there is no major reason to doubt that Greek philosophers understood the spherical shape of the Earth. You will, for example, learn on the web that Aristotle was convinced it was approximately spherical, with a body of evidence based on astronomical observation, and that Eratosthenes had estimated the Earth's radius by comparing the direction of the sun seen from Aswan and Alexandria. However, in both cases, very elaborate and not very accessible knowledge, for simple mortals, was called upon. Point 2. The Earth is not flat. If you have only to contradict the flatness, no need to refer to anything outside the planet. Indeed, if the Earth were flat, in every direction the horizon would coincide with its edge. And anyone who has walked a few kilometers on foot can verify that it is not the case, since new objects appear as we move towards the origin. Some tricky persons will object that obstacles prevent us from seeing very far, but if we stand in the middle of a desert, it is easy to see that for a man standing up, the horizon is always about 4 or 5 kilometers away, obstacles having nothing to do with it. Besides, the horizon gets closer when we sit down, and we shall see that the distance from the horizon is even a way to estimate the radius of the planet. Point 3. A first approach. In 2003, flying over the Great Siberian Lakes, among which the Baikal Lake, I suddenly wondered whether it was possible to detect the curvature of the Earth through the window. For that, I had to evaluate the distance from the horizon at 10 kilometers of altitude, which led me to make the small following picture. The Earth is seen in section by a vertical plane which delimits a direction of sight, capital A, capital T. Capital A is the position of the plane, capital C is the center of the Earth. We call small h the altitude of the plane, capital T is the point of the horizon in the viewing direction, and capital P, located inside the globe, is its orthogonal projection on the vertical line AC. We put TP equal capital X, we call capital H equal AT the distance of the horizon in the given direction. In the sequel, I will pronounce capital H to avoid confusion with small h, currently spelled as H, and drop for simplicity capital for the other capital letters which do not appear in lowercase form. Since the right triangles PAT and TAC are similar, we have AP over capital X equals AT over CT equal capital H over R. So we find X times capital H equal R times AP. Since capital H is greater than X and AP is greater than small h, we conclude that capital H squared is greater than LH. Therefore, capital H is greater than the square root of RH, with R equal 6,400 kilometers and H equal 10 kilometers, we find capital H greater than 250 kilometers. The corresponding central angle being close to 2 degrees, one should be able to perceive the sphericity. Actually, the angle is larger, of the order of 3 degrees, because a more precise calculation shows that capital H is larger than the square root of 2RH. Point 4. A more precise calculation and its consequences. Keeping in mind the previous picture, let us see what an exact calculation gives. To this end, we consider the triangle ATC, where C is the center of the Earth. By construction, this triangle is a rectangle at point capital T. We have AT equal capital H, TC equal capital R, AC equal capital R plus H, and by the Pythagorean theorem, we find R plus H squared equal capital H squared plus R squared. By expanding, R plus H squared equal R squared plus 2RH plus H squared, we obtain after reduction capital H squared equal 2RH plus H squared. Therefore, capital H is equal to the square root of 2RH plus H squared, which is equivalent to the square root of 2RH if small h is small with respect to capital R. By applying the result, we find that for a man standing at 1.8 meters in 8, the horizon is about 4.8 kilometers away. It is actually a bit less, about 4.5 kilometers, because it is the height of the eyes that counts. And by plane, at an altitude of 10 kilometers, the horizon is nearly 360 kilometers away. Note that the formula capital R equal capital H squared minus small h squared divided by 2 small h allows one to compute capital R if the length capital H can be measured. Besides, if from any point we find, small h being given, a constant value for the distance capital H in all directions, a geometrical argument, slightly too involved to be reproduced here, proves that we are on a sphere of radius capital R. Point 5. Conclusion. For those who think, but it is not my case, that the ability of reasoning is subject to the existence of language, the appearance of logical deduction for humans dates back to a past situated between 50,000 years and 2 million years ago, depending on the specialist. If we think, and I do, that Homo sapiens sapiens was able to reason even without language, we can easily imagine that at least 100,000 years ago, some of our ancestors have observed, just like us, that the horizon recedes when we walk towards it. And if they happened to contemplate the panorama from the top of a hill, they might have imagined, without being able to verify it, that they were living on a sphere.